right. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Brand Builder TV, where we want to share with you real world wisdom. People that are actually have been there, done it, and are currently doing it in 2020, not 2004. Big difference in the marketing and branding in 2020, and the evolution just keeps getting faster and faster and faster. And if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you disappear. So that being said, let me introduce Nate Bailey. Nate, I want you to give us that 30,000 foot view, who you are, where you came from, where you're at today, and where you see yourself going, and then we'll chunk that down.
Awesome. Yeah. So, well, I live in Rochester, Minnesota. Currently I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. I have a podcast, Championship Leadership. And really, it's my mission, I guess, in life to just impact as many other people as I can. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, really specialize in like leadership, teamwork, mindset. And I specialize in that really from an experiential side of things, which has been tough going through COVID right now. Not a lot of person-to-person stuff, although I have an event coming up this weekend. But as I look back just on my life, I grew up in northern Wisconsin with my mom, and then shortly after that, she got remarried to my stepfather now that's been in my life really since 4 or 5 years old. So he's been that father for me, and I was very active in sports, super active in sports, loved to compete, loved to play sports, played college football. And then from there, I joined the Army. I became an officer in the Army. After football, it was kind of a void, right? And didn't know what to do with myself, kind of lost my identity. So I was looking for that next challenge, joined the Army National Guard, became an officer, got out of school, had a teaching degree, did some coaching in high school, in college athletics, and then became an entrepreneur and started down that journey. 14 years as an insurance brokerage, owned a CrossFit gym for a few years, owned multiple rental properties across the country. And so as I look back, like it all starts to make sense. It didn't necessarily make sense, the path that I was on, but it, I always gravitated towards leadership positions. I've always wanted to impact and coach and inspire as a teacher, as a coach. And so that really has led me what I'm doing today. And just recently made a big move in my life, another big move in my life just a few weeks ago. For the past 3.5 years, I had a business partner, and we had a coaching program, and we built that up. It was really successful. So it was hard to leave, but at the same time, I knew that like I had my own message that I want to take out to the world. And I have my own group of people that I know that will really resonate with me and that will I'll be able to impact at a much higher level by making that leap. And with all the craziness going on in this world, it maybe wouldn't seem like the great time to make a leap like that. But for me, it really felt like the right time to do it. So that's where I'm at. Married, 3 kids, been married for going on 19 years, 3 kids, 12, 11, and 7. So that's kind of that 30,000 foot view.
Awesome, brother. Minnesota, man. Whoo, you know what the winters are about. I thought I did from New Jersey, but man, that's nothing compared to Minnesota.
Absolutely.
That is the real deal.
And they're getting old. I'll tell you that much. Like the older you get,
the
worse that cold gets.
Wow, man. I've been out here, San Diego, since 2008. And man, every time someone back east says, when you coming? I said, I don't know, anywhere between May and September. Other than
exactly.
That, unless it's an emergency. And now that we got Zoom, we're good, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Smart man.
Man. I think the only other thing past you guys is maybe somewhere out in Canada. I don't know, man. But you guys, totally. God bless you, man. God bless you. But let's go back a little bit. I know that you have a big passion for leadership. You speak on leadership, and I'm sure you've got a lot from sports and a lot from the military, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But give me your definition of leadership.
Yeah, I like it. I usually ask that question. So leadership to me is, really the ability, well, number one, the ability to have others follow you, right? Because without that, then you're not really leading anyone. The other piece to leadership that I really is super important to me is like, you got to lead yourself first, right? Before in life, like you gotta take care of yourself first. You got to lead yourself first. You got to live the life that you're going to teach and preach to others before you can go out and lead others in that mission. And then a big piece to me as well is around leadership. Like great leaders, they just have this ability to not only continue to change with the times, just like a Bill Belichick or a Nick Saban. I'm not an Alabama or a Patriots fan by any means, but I can respect like just the ability of their leadership and how they continue to be able to find ways to stay on top. And no matter how old they get, they continue to stay fresh and relevant. And on top of that is just really the ability to get others to do more than they would on their own, right? Like to really get people to maximize their potential more than they would on their own. So that's leadership.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm probably going to jack it up, but I'll say it in my own way. But, creating other leaders, I think that's so vitally important, especially if we want to get into the nuts and bolts of a business, right? Is hopefully your goal is to scale it. So if your goal is to scale it, right, then you need other leaders, not followers. So I think that's so important for leaders to understand too. And then that dives into my jam, which is fear, right? So many people fall into the fear of, oh my God, if I create too many leaders, they're going to become my competition, or they're going to not need me, and that to me is that fear-based mentality, which will come back and bite you, right? If you look at it that way. So I think I'd love to have your thoughts on that.
Yeah, John, I love John Maxwell, right? Like if there's a Mount Rushmore for leadership, he's right up there, right? I mean, all the books he's written and the time that he's taken to really teach and talk about leadership. But he talks about like secure leaders versus insecure leaders. And I think that's what you're talking about. A lot of people are insecure leaders. They feel like they have to have all the answers, and they have that scarcity mentality. Like I got to hold these people down. Like what if they pass me up? Or what if just the insecurity of I'm the leader, so I need to be on the top, versus the mentality of like, I don't need to have all the answers. That's why I have a team. Like a leader is able to like know what their strengths are or their blind spots are. And then they fill in their weaknesses and their blind spots with others that can help elevate the team. And I know as a secure leader, if I elevate those and I invest in other leaders, it's only going to help me to elevate myself as a leader as well. And so it's just, it's a big time scarcity mentality for a lot of people that operate from that place of fear.
Yeah. And I think one of the things they could definitely clear up for the audience too, in case there's questions in their mind, which is, and I try and put myself in the audience position the best I can. And so as you're talking, I agree with you 1,000%. And then one of the questions that might come up with somebody is, okay, but where does that come from? And how do we fix that? And the first thing that comes to mind is pure intention. So if you do find yourself in that scarcity mentality, right? Or you're working for somebody that is, or learning from somebody that has that scarcity mentality, I think it comes from not having that pure intention. Meaning that pure intention, you become bulletproof. You literally become bulletproof, because when you're going into that pure intention, you know that, hey, this is what we're looking to do. I want to grow this company and have everyone around us grow. Right? Some are going to fall off. Some aren't going to keep up. Some are going to outgrow and move on. You just keep filling that spot. And I believe enough time on this planet that I think that's what it comes down to is, if you need to check yourself and figure it out, ask yourself or look at that other person. Are they coming at this with a pure intention?
Yeah.
If not, let's fix that. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think what I hear you saying is really just like insecurity comes from just hyper-focus on themselves, right?
And manipulation.
Like, you're a great leader, and great leaders, they don't care about themselves. They care about the team and the goal, the outcome that they're all striving for. And so if they can get everybody together to work towards that, and it lifts everyone up to accomplish that goal, then that's all they care about. They don't care about the accolades. They accept 100% accountability and responsibility when things fall apart, and they deflect it when they win, meaning like they give all the praise to the people.
Yep.
And an insecure leader isn't going to do that. They're going to deflect when shit goes wrong, and they're going to point fingers and blame and be like, hey, it wasn't my fault. I had a great game plan, and they didn't execute.
Yeah.
And then so it's just kind of, it's the roles are flipped there, I think, because they're so focused on themselves. They're so worried about themselves versus the team.
Yeah.
Or the organization or the company.
That's so interesting. It reminds me of, and this is great timing, man. It reminds me of back in the, I guess it was late 80s, early 90s. Donald Trump was in an interview, and I don't care whether you like him or not. It has nothing to do with it. And he was asked, how were you? It was after he bounced back, right, from his almost complete crash, right?
Yeah.
Not only did he bounce back, but he just eclipsed where he was.
Yep.
And the lady that was interviewing him said, Mr. Trump, how did you do this? And then not only how did you do it, but how did you do it so much better? And he didn't even blink an eye, right? He said, I surrounded myself with people that knew more than me in the right areas. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this or not. I'm from the East Coast and spent all my summers down the Jersey Shore, Atlantic City. And when Trump really had trouble with those casinos, a lot of people don't know this, but I think it was 3 or 4 of his executives got killed in a helicopter crash at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So his inner circle that ran this for him, right? Why he's in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
lost some key people.
A lot of people don't realize that, right? So it's about surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you. It's the old saying, if you're the smartest one in the room, run, man.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
I love that. What let's go back more. I'm curious. I could feel your energy when you were talking about your stepdad, right? And the impact he made on your life. What are some of the things that you've learned that you've taken with you that you could give credit to him for some things that you've implemented in your life and saw success?
Well, I mean, my father, my biological father, right? I saw him one time that I remember in 2nd grade, and then he called out of the blue, like on my 15th birthday, like totally out of the blue. And my stepdad comes out of the house and says, hey, your dad's on the phone. Like super weird. First of all, number one, didn't expect it. And then how weird that had to be for him, right? To say that, hey, your dad's on because he hadn't been a part of the formula at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some of the biggest things that I've gotten from my stepfather were, number one, just, I ran into a lot of people that just said, hey, like he's the nicest guy around. Right. And I always remember those things, and it wasn't ever, and I was a kid, so it wasn't ever like, I wasn't asking for that or about it. It was just things that they would say on their own. And so that, that it's real. And just, the family we had a great family. We had dinner at the table every night at 5:00, and taught me a lot about growing up to be a man. And like, we spent a lot of time outdoors and hunting and fishing, and values and morals were definitely, I would say in today's standards, extremely strict and high, right? Like versus like very old school compared to what I think you see today, unfortunately. And so, I just really humble guy, just doesn't need a lot in life. And so there's so many things that I took from that.
That's awesome. So really a good solid foundation.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of sounds like living in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Actually, I could actually pretty much mimic that with my dad. Me and my dad were so opposite, but he still created that solid foundation, right? And being content where he
Yeah.
is. Now,
Yeah.
some people in the entrepreneurial world think that's a bad thing, but honestly, if they can actually truly say that they're happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
truly all that matters.
Yeah. You know, I mean, and he's not an entrepreneur, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's okay. But
Yep.
at the same time, it's not that he isn't either, because he's got some pigs now. He retired, and like he sells pigs to people and raises them to
And he's an
sell. And like, so
entrepreneur.
he's got a business,
Yeah.
so he is a little bit. And but yeah, content was perfect. Like, yeah, he is happy, and he doesn't need a lot in that life. And there's a lot to be said for that, especially nowadays, because I can find myself in that trap of always wanting more. And there's a lot to be said about just to be happy with what it is that you have. And not that to say that, money's wrong, or because I love money and I love what it provides, and I love how I can help other people when I have more money, and more opportunity and great lifestyle for my family and all that. But there's also a lot to be said when I go back home to the way that they live, and just how peaceful that does feel to just get up there, disconnect, and just kind of be like, hey, this is all right too. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that really goes back to self-awareness, right? The clearer, the more clarity you have in who you are and what makes you tick, right? That really is going to map to happiness, because it's knowing who you are. Like my dad that raised me sounds a lot like your dad. For me, that's like, I can't do it, right? It's too slow for me. But that's my DNA, right?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. My dad, I was on your show not long ago, and we were talking, and I was sharing with you that I was adopted, right?
Yep.
And we couldn't be any further from the opposite, me and my dad. He worked for the same company for 30-something years, and just always came home at the same time, ate dinner at the same time, went to bed at the same time,
exact.
right?
Yeah.
For that was his thing, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that was like hell on earth, right? It just wasn't my thing. But as I got older and started to create success, I remember he asked me this he said this to me a few times. He goes, I really admire the way you're able to build a business, sell a business, move across the country, do. And I said, well, I really admire the way you were able to create a solid foundation, right? Yeah. For me as a little boy. So it's again, that level of awareness and understanding what makes you tick. So that being said, when you work with your clients and you're focusing a lot on leadership, how much credence do you put in self-awareness?
A lot. Yeah. Big time. This journey that I've been on, I continue to get more and more self-aware of what's going on around me. How does that apply to me? Self-awareness from the standpoint of just realizing that everybody like comes from different places and has different things going on in their life, and the ability to really just take a step back and really just kind of like, instead of just super reactive, high strung reactive, no clarity, blowing up, like that doesn't happen to me anymore. And that's because I believe because of that self-awareness, to be like, all right, hey, let's take a step back. Like what, a powerful question was like, man, I wonder what just happened in their world to have them in that state that they're in right now. Like to really try and kind of maybe figure out what's going on for them before I am quick to react or respond.
So kind of figure out the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I do a lot of work with people on that, of just helping them to get to that place in their life too. It's such a powerful place. When you run into somebody that, man, just kind of has it all together, stays collected. It doesn't mean that there aren't times when you need to like get excited and maybe get into somebody if you need to. Like they have the ability to do that too, but more times than not, like, Navy SEALs talk about it. Like they are trained to stay calm in the chaos. And I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is like, man, they're just like cool as a cucumber, and they don't let a lot of things get to them like others might, because of that self-awareness.
Yeah, I love that. It's my if you ask me if you put me on an island and I had one book to bring, what would it be? It's As a Man Thinketh.
Oh yeah,
James
absolutely.
Allen. And at the last chapter, almost the last sentence, it says, calmness is power and right thought is mastery.
Yeah.
So it creates that inner power. Now that energy relates back to other people, and then they start to feel that calmness, right? They
Yeah.
start to feel
Yeah.
that certainty, right?
Yeah.
So it makes
Yeah.
them feel, and that is absolutely a leader, right?
Yeah, and it's
That's
contagious
leadership
too, right?
101,
Like you
right?
said, when they see, especially in the leader, they're like, "Oh, okay, he's cool in this situation. I guess I can be too, right?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's yeah, that's exactly it. So how do you work with clients? Do you do one-on-one? Do you do group? Do you do programs? How do you work, or all the above?
Do a little bit of of all of the above. For instance, I have an event called Championship Leadership. It's a 24-hour event. A good friend of mine, a former Navy SEAL, 25 plus year Navy SEAL, and me, we're doing this. So it's a physical evolution. We're just going to have them outside at this park, doing log PT, doing hikes, and giving them missions, but it's leadership focused. So we're not just out there to just crush them to see if they can make it. We're not trying to make them quit. We're trying to give them a great experience under the stresses and pressure of the physical evolutions, under the stresses of staying up and doing that for 24 hours. Because that's what leadership is all about. Like, it's easy to be a leader when everything's going well, but we know in life, like, that ain't how it happens. And so we're trying to kind of simulate life through that. And so we'll just talk to them about leadership. We'll assign them as leaders, and as they come out of the evolution, we'll bring them together and we'll talk about what went well, what didn't, how can we apply this to life. And so we got my very first event of that coming up this weekend in Ohio. And then, so that's kind of a group experiential type deal. And then I also have a virtual mastermind online, where I talk a lot of leadership and kind of life, but really through the leadership mindset and physicality piece of, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, leading yourself first, and how that will lift up all the areas of your life. So there's that. And then, of course, a few one-on-one clients that I'll take on at a time.
Love it, man. I love that you went there on the physical, because I'm a firm believer that this is our vehicle to get us through this lifetime, right? So the better
100%.
you take care of it, the smoother the ride.
Yeah.
So that being said, who'd you play college ball for?
Well, I bounced around a little bit. I played JUCO in the Twin Cities, and then I went Division II Chadron State for a year, and then I hated it out there, man. It was in the middle of nowhere. So then I came back home to Wisconsin and finished up last 2 years at a state school in Wisconsin.
At Division II?
3. Wisconsin doesn't have any Division II schools.
Okay.
But we beat Division II schools.
There you go. That counts. That
Yeah.
counts. You got the belt. You got the belt.
Yep.
Love it. And then the military. So how much has that helped mold your leadership content, if you will, and leadership skills with your clients?
There's a big influence there for sure. A lot of the experiential stuff, like this event coming up this weekend, a lot of things from my military training and background that'll definitely use throughout that. The experiences that I got being deployed for, we were deployed for 15 months. We trained up for 3 months this was in August of 2005 in Mississippi, and we went through Hurricane Katrina. So, being from Wisconsin, I had never experienced a hurricane before, and that was one of the bigger ones we've had. And then we went for a year in Kuwait. So I was a platoon leader. I was responsible for 42 guys and 42 different personalities and 42 dudes, alpha dudes, and just getting to know the people and being on the line with them every night and just spending time with them, getting to know them and know how they tick, know how they respond, because you can't lead the same way to every person, right? You can, but you're not going to be a great leader by doing that, right? Great leaders have the ability to really know their people and know how they respond and to what form of communication they'll respond the best to, and to get them all to come together. And so I had 15 months to do that. And so many lessons and experiences that I got from that. And then, of course, coaching athletics and running businesses have also been a big influence for me. But yeah, the military side, probably more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love about that is again, it's there's a lot of theory out there, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are coaching and teaching from books that they've read. But to me,
Yeah.
there's nothing like, I always say, wisdom married to inspired action gets you to that finish line so much quicker
Yeah.
than the knowledge and the theory, right?
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah. Every day, every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's so I love that, man. That's why I connect with so many, God, we've had so many Navy SEALs and Special Force guys
Yep.
on the show, because I just connect with the real deal,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
entrepreneurs that are been in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
Got dirty, got back up,
Yep.
wiped themselves off, figured it out, right?
Yeah. Right.
Kept moving forward. That's I think the real value that you bring to your clients, right?
Yeah.
Is the real deal. So where do you see you made a new move, right? You listened to your
Yeah.
intuition,
Yeah.
and you're moving forward. So what's the you got like a year plan here? What are some of the things you could share with us?
Yeah. I'm putting together right now, like just before I make the launch, I want to make sure that everything's as detailed as possible. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a 5-day challenge. And again, I'm a big believer in the physical, taking care of your body and competing. Like I love to do, the reason I'm doing this 24-hour event, because I've done these things before. I've done a 52-hour event. It's called SEAL Fit Kokoro. Made it through that. I've run 100 miles. I'm running 50 miles in July. I'm running 135 in September.
Wow.
And so I continue to love to just push myself, because I know that if I got something to work for and train for, like it raises the rest of my life up, because I'm not going to do it at the expense of my marriage. I'm not going to do it at the expense of my business. I'm not going to do it at the expense of my kids. But I also know that I still have to put the work in. So I need to be dedicated, disciplined, committed, and I got to take advantage of the time I have and fit everything that needs to be done. Because there's no shortcuts. And so my 5-day free challenge will bring as many people as I can in, and we're going to teach them how to create a plan for themselves. Because there's a certain point in life, right, where like people just stop competing, and especially men. And I'm going to be going after former college athletes, former military, because that's who I am. And so I'm going to go after those folks because I resonate with them, because I am them, because I was them. And, they're competitors. But at some point in life, I remember I was like, man, I haven't ran, I haven't sprinted, I haven't jumped in like years, right? There was a point where I was there in my life where I was like, I haven't competed. And I was the biggest competitor. And so when I started to do that again, I just saw my life really take off to where I wanted it to be after many years of it not. And so, yeah, we're gonna come in through the physical side. We're gonna get them to step into some challenges that they haven't in a long time. And then from there, they'll come into my mastermind. And from our mastermind, it will just be a tribe of people living life the same way, coming together when we need help. They can, they got other brothers that they can come to and that have experiences that they can learn from, and we can all win together. So that's the big picture for this next year is building that up.
Love that, man. I love that. That's awesome plan. And I love the fact that you're listening. You have the courage to listen to your intuition, right?
Yeah.
And move forward. And that is, I believe along with the self-awareness, having the courage to listen to your intuition is absolutely leadership 101.
Yeah.
And being able to, I call it the fog lights, right? Not everyone, has the ability to see through the fog, especially
right.
when it's your fog, right? But when your intuition, man, gives you those lights to be able to maneuver, right, and keep moving forward, as Martin Luther King said, you only have to see the next step, right? Not the whole staircase.
Yeah.
I think that's
100%.
That's huge, man. Big kudos.
I appreciate it.
Do you have any morning routines?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. I like to get up before the kids and the family get up. It depends. Usually, no later than 6, I'll get up. And usually I like to just get out the door and to the gym first thing. And so I go hit the gym. I'm usually listening. Sometimes I'll listen to music, but a lot of times I'll listen to a podcast or a book, just trying to learn something during my time. I get in and I get out. I don't waste a lot of time in the gym, usually out within 30 minutes, but I'm moving pretty, I'm constantly moving. I'm not just sitting around and looking at my phone or wasting time.
Heart rate's going. Yep.
Yeah. Heart rate's up. And then I get back home and just take a look at my calendar for the day, set my priorities. What's the major thing that I need to get done? And then by that time, the kids are starting to get up, and so I get to be with my family in the morning, and usually cook them breakfast. And during the school year, when we're going to school, take them to school or help them get out the door. And then shortly after that, I'll eat, make sure I get all my meals for the day that I'll bring with me, and then I hit the office. So
love it, man. I love it. I have a huge morning routine. So there's not many successful entrepreneurs that I've had on here that don't have one,
Right.
So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody's a little bit different, right? Which is the important thing. Like, find what works for you.
Yeah. And then you hear something else, borrow that, figure that out.
Totally.
And then whatever doesn't work, throw out the rest. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And again, it goes back to that self-awareness, right?
Yep.
Who are you? What makes you tick? And then just be honest with yourself. So I love that, man. The morning routines, pre-paving, right? Yeah. Pre-paving the day for that success. I love that, man. I want to be conscious of your time. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
I mean that. I'm glad we connected. I'm looking forward to staying connected. And now that you have a brand new journey, man, I'm looking forward to seeing this thing unfold.
Absolutely.
Leave us with a life golden nugget and a business golden nugget.
Well, I would say that these really these really are both, right? Personal and business. So I did a podcast called Integrity Bank, and really the concept of Integrity Bank for me is becoming a person of your word. And so we all have bank accounts, financial bank accounts, and when you make deposits in there, the balance grows. And when you buy things, the balance goes down, right? And many people overdraw their financial bank accounts, right? Well, we do the same thing with our word by saying that we're going to do something and then not doing it. And it starts with you first. And so this is just as true in business as it is for you personally. Like, how many people have you heard like, I'm going to start to work out. I'm going to get up. I'm going to set my alarm for 5. They set their alarm for 5 and then they hit the snooze and they don't get up. Well, they just taken a withdrawal from their integrity bank. But the problem is most people have been taking withdrawals for years and they don't have any freaking money in the account. And so become a person of your word. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday or the years past. You can make the choice today to start to make deposits every single day into your bank account by making promises to yourself and keeping them. Like, I'm going to work out today. So you work out, even if it doesn't happen at the time you said it would. Like, there's been nights where I've been on the track at 10 p.m. because I didn't get it done during the day. But I to become a person of your word, it's so powerful. And then after a time when you can expand the gap from the day that you had to make a withdrawal and the next time, like, if you can continue to expand that gap, the more powerful you become, the more you become a person of your word. And the more that when you tell somebody you're going to do it, like, they just know they can count on it before it even happens because of who you've been for a long period of time, right? You've proven yourself. There's a track record because you've been putting those little deposits in time in your bank account every single day in your integrity bank. And after a while, you look back, you're like, oh, like, now when you need to make the withdrawal, because there's still going to be days when you got to make withdrawal, right? You honor your word. Like, if I'm going to be late, hey, Dave, like, I know we had this appointment today. I'm going to be 5 minutes late. Or, hey, something came up. I have to handle it. I apologize. I don't have to go into this huge excuse why. Like, can we reschedule that? That's honoring your word. And then you continue to show up and become this person of your word. And it's a powerful place once you do that. But it starts with becoming the person of your word to yourself.
Love it, man. That's all maps back to the bulletproof self-image, man.
Yeah.
That's everything. Hey, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, right now, my website, NateBaileySpeaks.com. which is getting an overhaul and is soon going to be natebailey.org. Couldn't afford .com here yet, but and social media, you can find me. Instagram is a good one, Coach Nate Bailey.
Okay, and make sure that we have all that, right? So when we do the clips, we'll make sure we attach you on them. This way,
absolutely.
From the show.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, man, pleasure meeting you. Glad that you took the time and jumped on and brought the real world value, man. That's what Brand Builder TV is all about. And hey, if you happen to know anybody you think might be a great guest, I'd love to connect with them, man. But totally. Yeah, man, keep us posted. We're looking forward to seeing you blow this thing up, man.
I will, man. And I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Listen, if you're getting value from this, which you definitely should be, jump on our YouTube channel, subscribe, share it, comment, get it out there. And any questions, you know where to reach us. We will definitely get back to you, and we're looking to build that family. So again, branding in 2004 versus 2020, big difference. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more guests coming up, and we do it one way around here, Monster Motivator style, baby.